Hi guys, so last week we had a look at using HTML to create a web page, and today we're going to look at how we can make that web page more stylish by using another language called CSS. So HTML and CSS are normally used together, and CSS allows us to control the style of the colors, the fonts, and all of the other things that make a web page look more attractive. So what I've got at the moment is a really simple web page. This is similar to what we were doing last lesson. If I click test, then we can see in the output window that it just outputs some text, and it's really plain. There's just some black text on a white background. So first of all, I'm going to add a little bit more text. Now, since we're doing pages about our hobbies, and my hobby is computers, I'm going to pick out some images from the internet. So first of all, I'm going to search for some of my favorite computers and get an image of those computers. Now, I won't get the image from the search engine. I'm going to click through until I get to the actual image itself, and then I'm going to copy the image location, and I'll go back to my HTML page. I write the img command src equals, put two quotes, and then paste the location of the image inside the quotes. Okay, now I need to give my page a title, so I'm going to use the h1 command. That makes a large heading. So this page is going to be called My Favorite Computers. Maybe I could make this a top 10 page or something like this. But okay, now I'm going to use the p command to make a paragraph. So I'll put some of my favorite computers were made by the company Commodore. Okay, so I've got a simple web page with a title, with one paragraph of text, and with an image. And if I test that web page out, look down here, it works, but it's not really beautiful. I've got black text on a white background, and then the image is okay, but it definitely could look better. So I'm going to look at this sheet, this help sheet at the side, and this provides a list of the useful HTML commands, some of which we looked at last lesson, and it also provides me with some useful CSS commands. So let's look at how we can use CSS to make my HTML look better. The first thing I have to do is I'm going to write the HTML command style. Now inside the style command, I can write these CSS commands in order to change what my page looks like. But I'm not changing the style of the whole page, I'm changing the style of parts of the page. So I have to say which part of the page I want to change the style of. Now we do that by looking for the name of the HTML command that I want to adjust. So first of all, let's say that we want to change the title of my page. So that's the h1 HTML command, okay, where it says My Favorite Computers. Now I want to move that so that it's in the center rather than being on the left hand side. So I'm changing the h1 command. I write h1 inside the style section. Now I write a curly bracket, so this is probably next to the P key on your keyboard. Now inside these two curly brackets, I can write CSS commands to change what the heading, the h1 command, looks like. So I want my heading to be centered, and if I look through this list, I can see make text centered on the screen. I use this command. So I'm going to type this command in here, text align, then a colon, then center. Now be careful, it's the American spelling of center, and then a semicolon. And I click on test, and now we can see that that text has moved to the center of the screen. Okay, let's try changing the design of some of the other things in my page. So I've got a paragraph of text here, and this paragraph is a little bit small. The text is a bit too small. So in order to make it bigger, first of all I type the name of the command that I want to adjust. So I want to change the paragraph text, so I put P. Now I do the open curly bracket and close curly bracket, and I want to make the font bigger, so if I look through the list I can see here's the command to do it. I want to change the font size, so I write font size and then a colon. Now let's try 16 point, so 16 pt, and click test. And it's bigger. That might actually be a little bit too big, so I'm going to try and delete it, decrease the size a bit. If I change it to 14 point, click test. Okay, I think that's about the right size, so it's not too big, not too small. Okay, so these are quite small changes. Let's now try and change the background of my picture, of my page. So if I want to change the background, I want to change all of this. So that means that I want to change everything inside the body command. So I go up to the style section and I write body and then do an open bracket. Now first of all, let's change the background color. So if I look here, it tells me how to change the background color. So background color, again, it's the American spelling. Now if I type white, then obviously it's going to look the same because I've already got a white background. But let's change the background to cherry. I don't know if that exists as a color. Let's test it. No, it doesn't. Okay, I was just taking a guess that that might exist. How about purple? Let's try that. Okay, there we go. That exists. It's kind of a bit ugly. Okay, maybe I'll try. Let's try green. So you never know what colors are going to exist. Obviously, the names of the really obvious colors like red, green, blue, those all exist. Sometimes I try really crazy colors like, I don't know, cerulean blue or something like that. And if you're lucky, then that color might exist, but it might not. You can actually look up a list of HTML color names on the net to see what colors exist. Okay, so I've set the background color to green. Now, the problem with having a green background color is that black text on a green background doesn't look very good. So let's change the color of the text. I'm going to put color. So again, using that list of CSS commands to help me, I'll put color, colon, and then I'll write white. And if I test that, now the text has become white and it shows up much better. Now I probably want to make that text look even cooler, so I'm going to have a look at some other effects I can do. Another nice effect is I could underline the title. Okay, so I've got this title text here. Let's make it underlined. So that title is the H1 command. So I'm going to go to the section for the H1 command and I'm going to say that I want text decoration colon underline. Click test. And now I've got an underlined title. And maybe I'll also change the font. So let's have a handwriting font. So font family cursive. And click test. Okay, now I've got a handwriting font. Now guys, the choice of fonts is one area where you have many more fonts to choose from if you're using Atom. So if you're using the Atom text editor, you can actually choose from any font on your computer. You can go to Microsoft Word and have a look at all the fonts that you have installed. But since I'm using the web editor, I can only choose a few fonts, and it tells you here what fonts are available. Okay, now lastly, let's just have a look at how I can change the appearance of images. So first of all, there's an image in my page here, and this image is okay, but it's a little bit too big. I think it would look better if it was smaller. So this image is this part, which uses the image command, img. So to change how that works, I'm going to write img and then open curly bracket. And I want to make the image smaller, so I write width. Now let's say that I want the width to be only half of what it is now, so I'm going to write width 50%. And if I click test, and now you can see the image has got a lot smaller. Now if I want that image to be centered on the screen, then there's a bit of a trick. I put margin 0 auto. So this is a little bit too difficult to understand why that centers it in the screen, but at the moment you just have to remember that it has that effect on images. And then you click test, and oh, it didn't work. Oh yeah, okay, I can see why. Okay, so centering images is actually a little bit complicated. So you have to write display block and you have to write margin 0 auto in order to make the image centered. And now it's centered. So centering images is a little bit of a pain. Okay, now the last thing I'm going to show you how to do is to put a background picture onto my page. Now actually what I want to do is have a background texture. So if I go to a search engine and search for background texture, and there's all sorts of different backgrounds that I can pick. Maybe I'm going to pick, let's go for this sort of dark blue background. So again, make sure you keep clicking until you get to the picture itself. Now this website is going to be a bit annoying. It's not going to take me directly to the picture, so I'm going to ignore that and see if I can find a website which works a bit better. Okay, this one seems okay. So I've got a really high resolution picture here. This is jolly good. And I'm going to copy that and go back to here. Now to make that my background image, I write background image colon. Now I need to write URL open bracket and then a quotation mark, and then I paste what I copied into that URL space. If I click test, now I've got that background image, and yeah, that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure it looks that great, but it's kind of interesting. Now, one problem here is that the picture and the background kind of blend together, but there is something I can do about that. What I'll do is I'll put a border on the picture, so I can put border. Let's make a border that is 4 pixels thick and made of solid black, and then I'll press test, and well, it helps. So I've made a bit of a border around the picture. It's still not that big. Maybe I'll make it bigger. Maybe I'll make it 16 pixels, really big border. Okay, that actually helps a lot. So now I've got a big border around the picture, which helps it to look a bit better. Okay, so guys, there's loads of different commands to try out to make your web page look more stylish. And obviously all of these commands you need to type in between the style and /style HTML commands. So good luck. Hope you create a really interesting looking page, and let me know if you have any questions.